Amarii, it is amazing that I get a chance to speak with you because I love speaking with young talent like yourself. Because years from now, when you're doing red carpets and awards and stuff like that, we can always talk about, remember when we did our first interview. My friend, how are you doing and how's Vancouver? If I do believe that's where you are right now.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. First of all, I appreciate you bringing me on. I'm super excited to talk to you. Yeah, it's I'm from Vancouver Island. If I don't know if you know where that is,
Yes.
it's like like a ferry ride away from the city. So 2 hour boat ride. But yes, we just got our first snowfall over here, so it's a little new. Yeah.
Well, you know what, man? We as we speak, Toronto, where I'm at, is supposed to be getting 10 to 15 centimeters of snow.
No
So,
way.
I already don't like you because of that.
Oh man. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm not used to snow so much, but hey, I like the little bit we do get.
well, I love your music, man, and I love your voice, and I love everything that's going on with you right now, which is one of the big reasons why, and especially your story, man, because there are people who talk like I'm this, I'm that, I'm from this. Man, you have lived it,
Yeah.
and you've represented through your music. I gotta ask you, man, what is your biggest inspiration? What gets you through the hard times to keep you going through everything to keep this passion going, which is music?
Honestly, one of my biggest inspirations is probably my little brother for sure. Like we we've been through thick and thin, everything together. So just from when we were put in foster care when I was 12 and he was 5, like from then on he just that close. So he keeps me going, and my family, my adopted family who have been there for me just to help them and be there for them how they've been there for me in the past. So that's family is a big inspiration for me for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about that if you don't mind, because I think it's important for a lot of people who are going through tough times too. What was it like growing up for you and your brother, man? Because it sounded like wasn't easy.
No, yeah, it was tough. Like I had like my mom, I lived with my mom, just her. She was a single mom at one point, and then she started dating this guy who ended up being my little brother's biological father. So then we moved to a little like country little town, like it's out of the way, and it just got really out of hand from there. There was a lot of alcoholism within like my stepfather, and my mom is like mentally ill, and so it was tough, and it was I had to see and deal with a lot of things that I think like looking back, like a 9 all the way up to like no like more like 7 all the way up to 12-year-old shouldn't have to see or deal with. And yeah, we went through some tough times, but and I remember getting taken out of our home, getting taken away from my mom, getting taken away from that situation. I was in total shock, and I remember thinking my world was completely over, and it was just that was it. I didn't know where to go from there. I didn't know what was going to happen. We got lucky and blessed enough that we got put into a home with a family that loved us so much. Thank you. And they adopted us when I was 16, and my brother was yeah he was around 9. So
I saw something on your Instagram, and as you tell this story, and it really probably makes the biggest difference. And I know people have probably tried it themselves too.
mhm.
Mustard sandwich.
Oh man,
Talk a little bit about that, please, because that's a big representation of what you went through.
yeah. I so when like back when we were living in that house in the remote little town over there, we didn't have a lot of food, and our parents were not around a lot either. Like out, I don't even know where they were half the time, and I just remember like no, I didn't know how to cook anything because I'm like 10 years old, and so I go in the fridge, and my brother's like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, and I'm like, well, I gotta make him something, right? So I remember just finding like it wasn't even like the good pieces of bread. It was like the end pieces most of the time. And like it would be like, oh, mustard in the fridge. And I would literally throw mustard on a sandwich and like make one for him, one for me. And then that would be our like lunch and like sometimes dinner as well. Like Yeah, so that's kind of where that came from. But honestly, like it's like you said, a lot of people, do know about those, so they're not that bad either. Like they're triable.
I
But
hear
yeah,
you on that. I hear that you that through that. Was music then an outlet for you when you were going through all this? I mean, some people they work out, some people do sports, some people, they throw their heads into the books. Was music your emotional outlet? Because I gotta assume, man, there must have been a lot of frustration and maybe even some anger and sadness too throughout all this.
yeah, I think that for sure it was a lot of emotions going through me at that age. I actually like music was huge because I used to watch much. I used to sit in front of my TV. I used to have like a little box TV in my living room, and I used to sit and watch much music videos over and over and over and over again, and just like the top 40 and like all that kind of stuff. And I was just obsessed with it. I couldn't take my eyes off of it, and I knew I loved music from then. And then I go on my computer, and I remember watching like I would try to find the upcoming like people. I remember like in Canada. I remember watching like it was like Sean Desmond. I remember he seeing his video when he was like first popping off, or maybe not first, but like the second time he like popped off, and then yeah. But also, I grew up playing hockey, so that was a huge outlet for me. I think to just physical activity. Yeah.
What kind of stories in the beginning, before we get into the music that you're going now, what were the stories that you were writing? And did you know? I love asking this question. I've asked this to other artists too. Did you realize you were writing lyrics, or was it more of almost like a diary for yourself just to express your feelings?
I think it was like therapy for me, honestly, because I remember when I first started making music, I never used to think of my situation in my past as a big deal.
Hmm.
I just be like a regular thing for me. And like I think the older I've gotten, the more I realize, oh, like I can help people with this story. And that's what I aim to do. But yeah, when I first started writing, I think I wasn't writing too much about it. And then honestly, like I started slowly getting more into it. And uh I think when I met Kayla Diamond is when she really helped bring that out of me and get me out of that shell. And yeah,
Let me stop you right. Let's get into this. Let's get right into the Queen and how you two met and
yeah,
how this all began with the both of you. Because for people who don't know, I was the very first person to interview her when her
oh,
career started. And when she contacted me, she said, quote unquote, can you interview this gentleman? Because I want him to have his first experience with an interview with me. So this is like first to first. So how
full
did you
circle.
two meet?
Oh, so I had this kind of guy who was kind of managing artists at the time, and I was working with him, and he just introduced me to her, uh, just on social media, and she immediately I sent her my song called Bad Guy, and she immediately there was like a lot. It's like a sad kind of breakup fallout kind of song, and she was like, oh, there's immediate emotion here. Like she loved it right away, so she reached back out and she said, I would love to do a remix on this song. And she did like a piano orchestra kind of version of it, and it was just a piano ballad, and so that was great. And then I remember I sent her some more songs. She's like, oh, this is getting even better. And then I told her my story, and then I think that's where it was the moment where it's like, okay, there's something here with me. And then yeah, so then from then on we just kept working, and she signed me to her new label, Colossal Records. And yeah, it's kind of been history from there so far. It's been amazing. Like she's so talented, and like has I've learned so much already from her, and I've gotten so much better at the craft in the last like year and only. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a force and
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I've loved seeing how her growth has been over the years and how she's giving back also. But you give back in so many ways yourself too through your stories. Um, but it sounds like sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we're going to be heading into the new single soon. I find sometimes your lyrics are hard on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
not just talking about, your life. Am I off on that?
No, because I think that I am very hard on myself. I think I push myself to be a perfectionist all the time. 100, I always say like 120% of me is, or I'm giving none of me. So I think that if something I find a flaw in myself, in all honesty, I hound on that and I try to find ways to do better with that flaw and make that flaw not a flaw. So I think when I'm writing, I think it's just natural for me to point out my flaws, but it's almost I'm not trying to do it in a negative way to try
Yeah.
and make people like listen to it and then oh this is I want people to hear that from me. This is my flaw. So then you can take that and be like, oh, I noticed that because when I listen to an artist and I hear something like that they sing about that's a flaw of them, I'm like, I can relate to that, and so then that it helps me. I can't really explain it to the fullest, but it helps me be better in a way, and so I'm trying to. That's what I aim to do with that.
Did you know you could sing? It's one thing being able to write, but man, you can't sing.
Thank you. I try. I try my best to sing. I think that I couldn't. I taught myself how to like sing as well as I can now. I think I did not have any lessons, nothing growing up. My mom actually was a singer, so I probably get it from her. But yeah, I think that yeah, self taught. But I'm glad you think I can sing. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, you definitely can, man. What does your younger brother think of the success that's coming your way?
Oh, honestly, like he always says to me, he's like, "You're so cool." Like you're so cool. I'm like, "Am I though?" Like I'm just me. I don't know. I'm just really being me to the fullest. And but yeah, I see him. I moved away from home about like 9 months ago now, so I try to go back home and see him as much as possible. He's 16 now, going into like grade 11. So he's a busy guy with all his homework and his girlfriends and whatever he's doing. But yeah,
Yet you realize though that he could kind of use you in a way where when he's meeting other women, if I could say that, you
he
going, yeah, man, but if something ain't working, he can always go, well, do you know who my brother is?
could. He could. Honestly, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he could. He definitely could. I give him full permission to use my name for whatever he needs to use it for. That's what
I
I'm here.
love it, man. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, look, there's a reason why he could do that. There's a reason why we're talking also, and there's a reason why we're talking about this whole story because you have music. I like to always make this part official. What is the name of the new single that we're rocking to? And give me the synopsis of it and how it reflects your life these days.
The new single is called "Play Me Again." I wrote it with Kayla Diamond and an amazing producer from Montreal named Max Ant. Uh, it's this song is like such an anthem. It's just got that big stadium sound, and it's like the lyrics are "You won't ever play me again." It's just like the most powerful. Like it's a breakup song. So I was dating this girl, and she moved away for school, and then like I went all the way across the country. She was like in Ontario, and I went all the way across the country to see her, just for her to tell me that she isn't feeling me anymore after like 2 months of being away. So
Man,
I decided to, yeah, it was tough. And so I decided to write this little tune. And it's definitely I felt really played. So I decided to, put it into a song and make a little bit of an anthem of it. But yeah.
has she heard it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. Like, I haven't got confirmation, but I think so. I assume so.
Well, I hope she did, and I hope that at least she realized that A, she lost out on a great guy, and B, uh, thank goodness her negativity gave you some success from that. And I think that's the good thing about it. What I love about you also is it sounds like you got an old school soul, and we don't get enough of these kind of songs anymore. How do you feel about representing that part when it comes to music? Because a lot of times it's about this,
Hmm.
it's about this, all these other things, but
Yeah.
we don't get a chance for gentlemen like yourselves talking about this from the heart?
I think it's such an important, it's like the most important thing to me is to just be the most honest and vulnerable as possible, because that's the type of music I love to listen to. And I think that I don't see a point in doing fabricated like words and music and thoughts, and like I want everything I write to be true to my story. And it's like I have the story of my past with growing up in foster care. I want to write about every aspect of my life, like not just one niche. I want to be a multi like genre emotion artist. That's what I aim to be. But yeah, I think that I agree. I think we definitely need more stuff from the heart. 100%.
I'm
That's what
curious.
I do.
And sorry to interrupt you. I'm curious though. Was this the single that you were having trouble record labels to jump on? Because again, I looked on your social media and I think I saw something where you said labels didn't want this song.
No, it was my one before that.
What song was that? Just curious.
It was Bad Guy. So when I had the manager dude back then, I sent that song. Well, he sent the song out to a lot of people, and it got denied by like I think like 20 plus like labels and like producers, and then Kayla saw through it. And but yeah, I think Play Me Again so far has been pretty well received, which I'm very happy about. And it's just my first release, so I'm happy to just get put out there and get an opportunity to showcase what I can do. And I have very big dreams, Rudy.
I
I got,
believe it. I believe it. You know what? And one other thing I want to point out your tenacity too, because again, on your social media, you show that you literally go house to house to have people listen to your music?
yeah, I did. I got denied by probably five people before I got to that one house that opened the door.
Wow.
Actually was like they were. I remember the house before that. They were like they listened to the song and they closed the door on me 20 seconds into the song, and I was like, and I'm like, okay, I got to move on. But the last house, I got it perfectly, and I think the reaction was amazing. So yeah,
That's good. I feel bad for the other ones because when they got to pay that enormous ticket to go see you, they'll be, Dad, that was the guy who we screwed up.
I knew him. I saw him.
Yeah. So what's going on with the rest of 2025? I know we're into the cold weather as we speak right now, but spring and summer is going to be happening. What are the plans so far?
Um, I'm gonna start performing live. I'm actually heading to Toronto in a few days to see Kayla.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna do some rehearsing. I have a show on with Red Mike Soho House, February 27th. That's my first one so I'm very excited for that. And then I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to book the Juno Award showcase
I
at the end.
was going to ask about that.
And what would be crazy about that is that it would the Juno show like on live TV is on the 30th.
Right.
My birthday's on the 28th, so my show would probably either be like the showcase show would be on either my birthday or the 29th, which would be crazy because it's my birthday weekend and the showcase at the same time. But yeah, fingers crossed I can book that. So
I am trying to see. I've never missed the Junos
mm,
in my 30 plus years. So I haven't booked anything yet, but I'm crossing fingers. I'm going to go, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to head down to Vancouver and
yeah,
hopefully we can meet in person over there, man. Look, as we wrap this up, what advice can you give anybody out there, whether in this business or whatever else, man? Because as you can tell, man, especially every time we put on social media, we see the bull that's going on out there, man. And there people are having hard times and it's not easy. What can you say to them that hopefully they can get through that tough tunnel and get to the light?
honestly, my best piece of advice for anyone going through a tough time in whatever situation is think think beyond the dark cloud. Like what's behind that? Because there's always going to be a dark cloud at one point or another in someone's life. We're all human beings. We're not perfect. We can't be perfect all the time, but there's something brighter on the other side, and I really truly do believe that, and I do believe in manifestation a lot because I have done that with myself to the point where I've got to this point now. So I try to stay positive through the dark times. Even if you can't be a ball of sunshine, no one can all the time. Just just know that it will get better. And listen to a lot of music because that has helped me. Yes. And listen to my music. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I was pointing at.
Yeah.
Listen to your music,
Listen to
my
play.
friend. Thank you so much for this interview. Really glad we had a chance to do this. Cross fingers, we'll run into each other in Vancouver. And yeah, man, just let's keep in touch because I love what you're doing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you for having me on. And new music coming soon. Next song is called Teeth. So yeah. Thanks.